The history of the temperance movement can be traced back to Dr. Benjamin Rush in 1784. Rush was one of the first to consider alcohol detrimental to one's health.
It was exactly what America wanted, and it caught us completely by surprise. It turned citizens into criminals, and criminals into kings. It changed the very nature of our democracy. Prohibition.
What a stupid idea it was that people actually thought you could get away with this. That you could actually ban alcohol, completely eliminate its usage in American society. It's a preposterous idea.
Virtually every part of the Constitution is about expanding human freedom, except prohibition, in which human freedom was being limited. Then we get in trouble.
It was a struggle between small towns and big cities, the wets and the dries, with the whole country caught in the middle.
It's not that sin is so terrible, it's that sin is very attractive. And that's why we're always tempted to do it. So what you need then is to help people. And if necessary, sometimes you have to make sin illegal. What it would mean in practice was going to have to be worked out through the legal system. Because to pass a law in the real world means nothing. To enforce the law means everything.
You drank to show that you were a man, but you get drunk and all of a sudden you can't provide for your family, you can't do your job.
It was a time when women found their voice and helped to change the nation.
The women gather in front of a saloon and they start praying. And the movement takes off like wildfire.
And our greatest heroes were also our greatest criminals.
You cannot legislate morality. In legislating and attempting to legislate morality, you create opportunities for people who do not follow the law.
Some call it bootlegging, some call it racketeering. I call it a business.
Once the government begins forbidding things, then somebody will come along and say, I got it. Step around the corner.
There was a time when the unfortunates of the world were left to die by the wayside. At times they were taken out and destroyed. They were considered to be a burden and a drawback. The insane at the time were supposed to be afflicted and possessed of the devil or an evil person. The idea that the insane were suffering from a different kind of disease was never thought of. They were chained to the floor or pinned up. They were treated worse than animals.
They were all different type of people. They were brought in from other hospitals, so they were considered to be insane. for years they had people that came in that, like grandma, that the family didn't want to take care of. So some of them were just regular people, but they just didn't fit into society anymore.
Like you said, the original patients come from mostly from almshouses originally, and a lot of them came from other hospitals that was overcrowded. Mental illness is mental illness, and you know, if you was mentally ill 100 years ago, odds are you had the same symptoms you'll show today. I mean, with treatment, has of course changed, but they were mentally ill patients, and this was state of the art at the time.
Less bizarre, but still no more therapeutic, were such practices as the cold needle shower, hydrotherapy, in which patients were immersed in cold or hot baths for long periods, insulin shock, in which a patient was maintained in a coma for 1 or 2 hours. These forms of treatment seem incredible today.
I don't see how anybody could do that to another person. That's just awful.
Well, my understanding, they drilled a hole in your skull and in the frontal lobe. They cut some nerves.
They didn't really cure you. They just changed who you really are. So I just find it horrible.
George Zeller took this over in 1901 and brought it out of the Dark Ages, but they still had people in shackles, and pretty much treated them inhumane. To give them a bath, they would lock them in a crate and spray them with high pressure hoses. They weren't allowed to come out of the buildings at all. And when he took over, he put this fence around it, all the way around it. And he took the people that could work and put them to work out here, doing whatever they could do. And they became kind of kind of independent. They had their own firehouse. They raised pigs and sheep and grew vegetables and gardens.
Oh my God! I will never forget this room. This is it, yeah. It took a year. It wasn't easy. I finally got permission to go inside and climb the stairs to Ward 210, the so-called female violent ward, where I was placed when I was 17 years old. Everybody has a moment in their life that they may not want to return to, but a moment that they need to return to. This is mine.
This was a crazy place, and not just because of the people they locked up. It was a very crazy place.
This 17-year-old single female, her first admission to a state institution, has a long history of psychopathology.
It was a huge, huge city, and here these buildings, which reached up to the sky in a town where you couldn't build above 4 stories, filled with patients.
This other young patient came to me and she said, "Do not cry. They'll hurt you." And I stopped, and I didn't cry for 20 years.
I would love to go over there, but I just can't go over it. I can't believe that. I just can't go up there.
My bedroom is creepy. This is right here. 1, 2, yeah, it was like this one right here. I want to be standing here and I want to cheer when they smash these buildings, because it'll be all my anger and frustration about this place going. I'd love to be in that crane and give it the first whack. I would love it. I would love it.
What I remember is there were only about 7 psychologists total for like 3,000 to 4,000 patients or something like that. But I was given this whole building with all of these patients. I was terrified. I was terrified. I had never had anything to do with psychiatric patients. Never.
The greatest thing that ever happened, that there is no longer an institution to house patients. We put all the problems of the world into a ward and locked them away from the public and forgot about them.
Suffolk County Jail is the largest mental health provider in the county. People get sentenced here that probably shouldn't be sentenced here, but the judges here in the county don't have any other option.
I mean, if you knew there was someone on the outside saying, come, leave, you know, I'll help you do everything, most people would go.
Right.
So the only thing I thought was that this was my only home. I had no place else to go.
Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand.